So marking, I've never met a tutor who is like, yeah, oh my God, I love doing marking. So it is a bit of a drag, especially when you've got something like 70 or 80 papers to mark, and you've got to do that 3 times in a semester. So the biggest challenge I find is keeping yourself motivated to do a good job, and to be fair and to be consistent across all of those different assignments. Because I think when I was in the position of being an undergraduate student, you really had faith that the people who are marking your stuff would do that, right? So I think there's sort of an ethical responsibility there to do right by the students and to make sure you're fair and consistent across all of them. So something I find that really helps me with that is breaking it up into smaller chunks. Because if you just take a pile of 80 sort of exams and you try and mark those all at once, it's going to feel like you're getting nowhere. So what I tend to do is just sort of take 10 at a time, and just that feeling of completing those sort of mini goals of marking 10 at a time, I find helps to keep me motivated. Or if it's like a longer assignment, I might set myself a goal of 5 a day for 2 weeks kind of thing. I find that really helps to ensure consistency in how I'm marking over time. I find, for me, like a principle I try and stick to is to keep things really concrete. So vague feedback, I find, isn't really that helpful for students. So saying something, like you need to be more analytical, for example, I find isn't usually the most helpful. You can say that because sometimes that is what's happening, but I think it's important to give the students specific examples of where they've done that, so that they can then go back to whatever page of their assignment and look at it and be like, okay, yeah, I see where I went wrong. So for me, I try and give quite a mixture of kind of high level but also very concrete feedback. And also kind of tailoring it to the specific student. Once you get to know the students a bit better, I find that helps. So like on the second assignment, sometimes I have people who have they've done really well on the first assignment. They've got like a high distinction or whatever. And then it comes to the second assignment and they kind of drop down maybe 10 or 15 marks just because it's a completely different set of instructions. And so trying to cushion the blow in the feedback and say, look, based on your mark on the first assignment, you're clearly capable of doing a great job. It's just here, maybe you've just interpreted the instructions incorrectly. So I find that as you go along, you can kind of figure out what the student wants.